I would like to share with you today some thoughts about St. Francis de Sales and his practice of love of neighbor. The Gospel tells us that there are two great commandments, love for God and love for neighbor. Although St. Francis de Sales was never able to write a treatise on love for neighbor as a companion to his great masterpiece, Treatise on the Love of God, nevertheless, his whole life was a living commentary or compendium of this second greatest commandment. It was love of neighbor which made him persevere in his efforts in spite of great difficulties and hardships to bring the members of his diocese back to the practice of the Catholic faith. His love for his flock is reflected in the affectionate terms that he used in referring to his diocese. He said, "I have married a poor wife," and he had no intention of abandoning her for the royal courts of Paris. This motive was also evident in his advice to those who were helping him in his mission to the Chablais, when he said that we must storm the walls of Geneva with love and not weapons. When an adversary threatened to do him some physical harm, his reply was, "Even if you should pluck out one of my eyes, I would still strive to look at you lovingly with the other one." On a similar occasion, he explained mildly that God does not send me an angel to tell me his will, and stones and rocks and animals cannot speak to me, so it is only through the will of my neighbor that I am able to know what God wishes of me. Those whom he directed in a spiritual direction were encouraged to grow in holiness not by multiplying their good works, but by increasing the love with which they did them. It was love of neighbor which inspired him to found the Visitation order for women who were not able to be received into the existing religious communities on account of their age or infirm health. Inspired by our Lord's words, "Learn of me, for I am meek and gentle and humble of heart," he made this our motto or the charism of our order, so that we would be guided by these words in our way of life. And he chose for us the rule of St. Augustine, which begins with the words, "Before all things, my dear sisters, let God be loved, and after him, your neighbor," and goes on to tell us that know that the more you prefer the community to your particular selves, the more you will be growing, making progress in the love for God. In order to promote this spirit of love of neighbor among the sisters of his order, he gave us many words of advice, such as, "Blessed are pliable hearts, for they shall never break. Ask for nothing and refuse nothing." We should never refuse to do or suffer anything for God or our neighbor. And gentleness and yielding to others is this fruit and infallible sign of God's presence in our lives. His habitual love for his neighbor was not limited to loving his neighbor as himself, but he went far beyond this in loving him as our Lord did, which is more than himself.